43 years after giving up her daughter for adoption, this mother decides to relocate her long-lost child. The bond between a mother and her daughter is a special one. Their relationship is too tough to be expressed in words and is something so pious that can only be felt by the heart. People often say that distance can never separate two souls who are connected by heart. But Becky Skousen and her birth mother Robin had to live apart for 43 years. While they thought it will be a once-in-a-lifetime thing that they'll have to face, everything had simply changed and none was prepared for what was yet to come. As an adopted child, life is easy until one is a child, but the moment one grows into an adult, the real challenges begin. If one's not aware of the reality that he or she is an adopted child, things go smooth. But if one knows about their adoption, the very first instinct and call are to know and meet their birth parents. And Becky had this same dilemma. Becky was not sure whether she really wished to meet her birth mother or not. She'd known her own set of questions and thoughts going on in her mind. While a majority of the adopted children love meeting their birth families, Becky felt that meeting them now would be an interference. Will it be? Becky always thought that if she now enters her birth mother's life, she might invite a lot of trouble for that woman. There must have been some reason that her biological mother gave her up for adoption, and if she chooses to go back to her old and original ties, a lot of lives might be impacted. Was she right? Though Becky was desperate to meet her birth family, yet her concern for them always held her back. She in any way never wished to be the cause of the disturbed lives. Becky, even without meeting them, was considerate to them. However, her birth mother had a different story on her side. Robin Adair Passy, who was Becky's biological mother, was a mother just like any other. In her past, certain circumstances compelled her to take some tough decisions in her life, and giving her newborn baby for adoption was one of those. However, since then, she's always lived with the high hopes of reuniting with her daughter. But will she? With Becky's firmness to not cross her biological mother's paths, and with Robin's dedication and determination to meet her daughter, one wasn't sure if they would ever come across each other or not. Will this mother and daughter get a second chance at life, where they could for once embrace each other and carry that memory with them for a lifetime? Or has fate written something entirely different for them? Becky Skousen was only an infant when she was offered for adoption. Luckily, she was adopted by a loving mother, Carolyn. Carolyn and her husband were a lovely couple who were eager to adopt a baby, and Becky came as a blessing to them. For them, with Becky's arrival, their family was complete. But for Becky, was it really complete? Becky lived the best of life that her foster parents gave her. She was a loved and pampered child whose every wish was fulfilled, even without asking it. She grew up like any other child. She soon reached the adulthood stage of life, and it was the point where she was brought face to face with reality. When Becky was around 25 years in age, her foster parents thought that it was the right time to break the news of her being an adopted child. They thought it was her right to be aware of this fact. Surprisingly, even Becky handled the truth with a lot of maturities, yet her foster parents had more to say to her. Becky will not lose her calm after brushing her teeth with reality. However, her foster parents said really wise words to her. They asked her not to hold any grudges or harsh feelings for her birth mother. Rather, she should have all positive feelings for her. However, Becky still had some questions. Becky accepted the truth with open arms, but taking everything into consideration, she just had one question. Why was she put up for adoption? She wanted an answer to this question, but never had the courage to ask anyone about it. Meanwhile, Robin always had this desire to be able to get in touch with her daughter. Surprisingly, destiny had some different plans for this mother and daughter. Robin had a place in her heart for her daughter that had been unclaimed since years back. Years back, Robin fell prey to circumstances she had no control over. She was barely 14 when Becky was born, and to give the newborn a better life, she had to do so. Robin had to go through quite a lot by her own, and Becky was totally clueless about it. Robin was dating a guy in her high school. She was madly in love with that boy. Their relationship was quite serious for Robin. While life was beautiful, the duo dated for nearly 5 years. They even had plans of tying the knot. But one night, things took a steep turn and everything came to a standstill. Their teenage love bloomed. Like the majority of high schoolers, they would always be found walking around together hand in hand. However, Robin had never thought that one night of passion would change the entire dynamics of their relationship and would bring her to a point where life would be rough. Robin conceived a baby from her boyfriend at just the age of 14. Unfortunately, her beau decided to call it quits. He was not ready to take responsibility for his unborn child, and nor was he ready to marry Robin after this incident. Robin was heartbroken. She'd never hoped to witness a day like this in her life. What next? Robin told this news to her mother. She immediately took her to a gynecologist. While the very first option that came to them was to abort the child, this didn't seem to work. Abortion wasn't possible at that stage. Robin had no other choice than giving birth to the baby. It was exactly that point that her motherly instincts took over. One doesn't expect a teen to act like a mature mother all of a sudden, but something like this happened with Robin. Her mother took her to Hawaii where she could deliver the baby. During her pregnancy phase, Robin, only a 14-year-old girl, started to develop an unheard bond with her growing fetus. Her motherly instincts were ruling her, and at the time of the delivery, it wasn't easy for her to give away her baby for adoption. Robin just got to see her little one for a while. She was wrapped in a cloth, and the young mother was just looking at her newborn's small eyes and tiny fingers. It was the only memory she had, that of her baby girl. But this rendezvous was something she could never get over. Little did she know that a small moment she shared would bear fruit years to come. Robin lived all her life thinking about that little one whom she had to give away immediately, right after the birth. Every time she thought of the baby, she'd weep in a corner and her heart would bleed. Though she now had her own family, she was always worried about her first child. And this was when she decided to find her long-lost past. Would she be able to locate the one in this vast world? Robin, even 43 years after that incident, decides to search for her very first child. It was the internet era, and she somewhere had this hope that someday, maybe only for some time, she'd be able to meet her long-lost daughter. She signs up with a website that uses DNA information to locate for the kids that have been adopted. She keeps her fingers crossed and just waited. Robin furnished all the details related to her teenage pregnancy on the website, though it was quite tough to match a DNA sample, but she was optimistic about giving it a try. Surprisingly, one fine morning she got a notification from the same website. What was it? One morning Robin got an email notification. She didn't pay much attention to it at first, but the moment she realized that the email was from the DNA website, she immediately opened it, and what it read shocked her to the core. Her DNA sample matched another person to about 49.1%. She couldn't believe her eyes. All the while, when she read the mail, Robin just prayed that this match was her daughter. But Becky never wanted to meet her biological mother for her own reasons. Then how could this DNA match be hers? Whose DNA matched almost a half to Robin's? Becky was a resident of Utah, where she was living with her foster parents. Robin was currently living in Arizona. Though Becky was always firm about not meeting her birth mother, as she was growing old, she too wanted to at least see the woman who nurtured her in her womb for 9 months. She too signed up with the same website. However, Becky had one condition that she bound herself by. She would only meet her birth mother if her biological mother felt like meeting her. She still stuck to the notion that she did not want to interface with her birth mom's life. Little did both women know that they were both eager to reunite, and it wasn't something too far. That morning, even Becky received the same notification about the email from the DNA website. Becky, too, was taken aback to realize that someone matched her DNA to approximately 50%. This was something she never hoped to find. However, even she thought that maybe her match is her biological mother. Will the pair ever meet? When the woman realized that their matching DNA is from another female itself, their thin hopes suddenly grew strong. And luckily, Robin asked Becky to meet in person. The duo agreed to meet up, and they both had weird emotions going through their minds. They were excited, anxious, nervous, and whatnot. But their meeting calmed them both. Becky and Robin decided to meet up in Phoenix. Becky, though, was happy that her birth mother wished to meet her, was tense too. Becky had always told her foster parents that she would not want to meet her birth family, and now that she suddenly was planning on meeting the woman, she didn't know how they'd react to this. When Becky told Carolyn about the meeting, she was overwhelmed. She always wanted Becky to meet her birth mother, as she anyhow had chosen a better life for Becky. And to make her daughter feel comfortable and in peace with the truth, she decided to meet Robin along with Becky. The case was the same on Robin's side as well. Robin too had her own family and her children. Robin told her youngest child about this meeting and asked her to come along. She wanted her youngest child to meet her eldest child. Everyone was prepared and excited for this reunion happening after almost 43 years. The day was finally there when two long-lost individuals would reunite. As they saw each other, Robin couldn't hold back her emotions. The little daughter that she'd left has turned into an adorable and independent adult. They shared a hug, and even Becky could feel the warmth of her mother's hug in her heart. There was something more. Carolyn, Becky's foster mother, showed a kind gesture towards Robin. She was glad to meet the woman who gave birth to her daughter. Carolyn even said, "I knew while I was shedding tears of joy on finding Becky, she was shedding tears of sorrow upon losing her." What a pure soul Carolyn was. Since then, Carolyn and Robin have become good friends. Robin was happy that her baby was brought up by such a loving and understanding woman. Robin couldn't thank her enough for raising Becky the way she did. Moreover, when the families came to know about this, they were glad about the same. Both the families are happy to find the missing pieces of the puzzle in their life. While Robin's children wholeheartedly accepted Becky, similarly Becky's foster parents welcomed Robin. They both would now go on vacations together and even meet for parties. Other than this, Becky had some big news for Robin. Becky would never have imagined that on her day she would have her biological mother by her side. When she told Robin the news about her getting married, the mother was over the moon. Even Robin hadn't dreamt of attending her eldest child's wedding. However, Becky had more surprises for Robin. For some unknown and strange reason, Becky, since her teenage years, wanted to live in Arizona. Back then, she didn't even know that her birth mother resided there. But now, after getting married, Becky asked her husband to shift to that place. This mother and daughter could now live in close proximity to each other. Carolyn was the happiest woman when she came to know that Becky was planning to settle in Arizona. She was, however, unsure how Becky would manage in a new environment and adapt to the new phase of life. But with Robin around, Carolyn was carefree. Becky undoubtedly got two mothers for herself. Becky's foster parents were really proud of their daughter. She grew into a beautiful woman with a kind heart. She respected everyone around her, and she had a caring nature for her extended family. She was a woman of substance. On the other side, Robin had a regret, but soon only even she overcame that. Robin always regretted that she could not be part of Becky's formative years, her childhood, her teenage phase. But as Becky shifted to Arizona, Robin became a part of her new life. Moreover, she now even knows every bit of her past life. They completed each other's life. Their story of reunion after some 43 years is an inspiration to many families. When Becky could reunite with Robin, probably you or someone looking for their deep lost roots can too. Always hope to reunite with them with some little effort and love. At the end, we want to know your opinion about the story in the comments box below.